I've been wanting to make this video for weeks now, but I've kinda sat on it until I go all guns blazing, because this topic to me is kinda interesting. Now it's been almost a month since the new Mutants trailer came out, and the critical reception of this is very split down the middle, which is something I haven't seen from a comic book property in a very long time. Now I went and looked at the new Mutants trailer from the official Fox YouTube channel, and to me it's quite fascinating to see how, despite how the majority really do like the trailer, there is a clear fraction that don't. And I know that this is nothing in comparison to the bashing of the Inhumans TV series, however the overall negativity revolving around the new Mutants is crystal clear. So I decided to go and look at the comment section from the trailer and pretty much see where the negativity comes from and why people feel this way. Now from what I can gather, the main reason as to why many people are turned down by this trailer and pretty much the new Mutants film in general is the fact that it's a little too dark in comparison to the other films in the X-Men film franchise. Or more specifically the fact that the new Mutants film is in fact going to be a horror film as opposed to your traditional superhero film. Which again, it's a major departure in comparison to the other X-Men films. And because of this, many people who are fans of the X-Men film franchise are turned down by this and ultimately just feel alienated by the overall angle for the new Mutants. But not only that, the horror genre as a whole these days do have a negative connotation because they are often seen as repetitive and cheap to produce. And also the fact that Fox's track record is often hit and miss, many people do believe that the new Mutants will most likely suck. Mostly because of all the main reasons that I've just mentioned to you guys. Now for the minute I want to focus on the main point of criticism, which is the fact that the new Mutants is in fact going to be a horror film. And that people believe that this is a major departure in comparison to the original source material. Now I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I know next to nothing about the new Mutants, but from what I can gather, a lot of the earlier storylines with the new Mutants were in fact horror based. And yes, it is true that the overall X-Men film series is anything but horror, the new Mutants is a spin-off to the core X-Men film series and therefore it has to be different. And what better way in doing this by bringing the new Mutants back to their original roots and make the new Mutants movie a straight up horror film. And also the fact that the Demon Bear saga, which is what this film is loosely based around, is a straight up horror story as well as quite possibly the most well known storyline from the new Mutants. And if Fox were to do this storyline justice, then it would make perfect sense that the overall film has to be a straight up horror in a similar fashion to the original source material. And as I mentioned before, many people seem to be turned down by the horror aspect, mostly because of the fact that the horror genre itself is often seen as bland, forgettable and uninspired. And I'm mostly focusing on modern horror here. However, I feel like that if you were to do a horror film with a bunch of teenagers who do have mutant powers, then you do have a very interesting premise and there's also plenty of material you can go by stylistically. And as for the criticism that this doesn't feel like an X-Men film, at the end of the day it's no secret that Fox are being extremely experimental with the overall X-Men series. And really there hasn't been any sort of superhero slash horror films in recent memory that has came out, so it makes sense for them to explore that element. And like I said, although that this is part of the X-Men film franchise, this is only a spin-off that takes place in its own corner in the overall universe. But at the end of the day, I can kinda see where the criticism comes from. Because on one hand, this is unlike anything from the X-Men film series. And so understandably, the casual X-Men fan, who only really watches the films, would be confused by this. And because that this is a straight up horror film as opposed to a traditional superhero film, any casual X-Men fan would be scratching their heads over this, because not only are the X-Men films not really known for being horrors, but also the fact that modern horror films most times out of 10 have this negative connotation. But me personally, I am still very pumped to see the new Mutants film, and I especially appreciate the new angle that they're taking this film as opposed to just making another X-Men film. They're being experimental with the film, and considering how the original source material was mostly considered as horror, to me following the same footsteps as the original source material is a great thing. And I do have high hopes that the new Mutants movie will in fact turn out wonderful. So how do you personally feel about the new Mutants movie? Do you appreciate the overall horror angle of the film, or are you still incredibly skeptical by this? Comment below and share some thoughts. And as always, thank you guys for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. Take care and have a good one.